would it be helpful to learn how to handle two jobs, two full-time jobs at the same time, especially if you're a real estate agent? A lot of new agents are doing this. Well, Chuck Baer's on my show today, and Chuck has two full-time jobs. He's a full-time real estate agent. He's a guru. He's killing it. He's doing a great job, doing lots of business. And then he works at Lafayette schools. So he has to drive up to Lafayette, works there all day, and he's able to somehow do huge volume. Throw into that some health problems that he's had over the last year or so. And it's fascinating to hear what Chuck has to say and how he's able to put that all together. I think anybody struggling at all with time management, trying to figure out how to do everything, whether you have two full-time jobs or just one, I think this could be very helpful. So please listen, and please let Chuck know that you care about him. Thanks.
There's a man in Indy who works with heart and pride. Rick Ribbon's his name, got the mortgage on his side. He sits down with the agents, tells their journey true, how they build their dreams from the ground into the blue. He talks of dedication, the long nights and the grind, from small town beginnings to the big deals they find. Stories of success through sweat and tears.
Well, Chuck Baer, you've come out of hibernation.
I have come out of hibernation.
You've been off. You've been on before, but this is your second time on. But it's been a while, right?
It's been a while. It's been a couple years.
A couple years, and a lot of things have happened in your life since then.
Yeah, we've had a lot of health scares, and I've changed companies. I'm with EXP Realty now. I started with them in October of 23, and it's been a great transition. I really do enjoy the atmosphere of EXP and how they offer what they offer to their agents, and it's been a really good growth for me to be at EXP.
That's awesome. That's it's one of those things that's just so important that you're happy where you're at.
Yes,
right.
I was happy at Carpenter. It's just I think I outgrew them. Carpenter is a really good company to start out with and to work with, but I just felt that there was another side to the industry I wanted to learn and be a part of, and it's just been a really good transition.
Well, that's awesome. I was trying to figure out this camera. Let's talk about you've transferred to EXP. What is it that you really, what is really benefiting you there beneficial for you being there?
The benefit for me going there is the freedom we have within, what we do with the listings and the commissions we're allowed to offer. The benefit is their training is really fantastic. Their communication is very good. And, you have a big network of other agents that you can work with across the whole country through their little, it's similar to Facebook type of thing. I can't remember what it's called. But if you have a question, you have a whole network of over 5,000 agents across the country that you can communicate with and talk with and learn more from.
Well, I got to think that there's not much that somebody in that 5,000 network of professional real estate agents that you can't get an answer to pretty much anything you need an answer to.
You get an answer for everything, and you just. Out of all of them, you find the one that's most common and you go with it. Sometimes you're just wanting to know a question just to make sure you know what your thought process is in the same line as everybody else.
Yeah, that's just that seems like that's a really cool thing to be able to do, is have that many people who can help you. Now, you talked about you had some health issues. So what's going on?
So 2021 had some breathing problems, went in, had a CAT scan done. The CAT scan showed high calcification of my heart. And then I spent the best investment money I ever had was a $49.99 heart scan at Hendricks County Hospital. And they found that my calcification was over 2,600, which is extremely high. Anything over 400 is, danger zone.
And yours was 2,600?
Yeah. It was
400 is danger zone?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So then I got hooked up with my cardiologist, and we did a catheter, and we found we had some pretty big blockages. And then we tried to treat with medicine, and medicine didn't really help me much. 6 months later, had another catheter and had a heart stent put in. And then in July of 22, I had an emergency situation happen where I had 2 more heart stents put in. And it's just been diagnosed with severe coronary heart disease and also pulmonary fibrosis in the lungs.
Wow. And now, I mean, how are you feeling now?
I feel great. I feel great. The doctors have done a great job. We got the arteries cleared for now, and we're keeping a close eye on everything by doing, our doctor visits every 6 months and doing heart scans and things like that, and everything's getting better.
One of the things that impressed me about you originally, and it still does, and now even more, okay, so here you are, you're doing a phenomenal job as a real estate agent. You're going through health issues, and you actually have 2 full-time jobs, not only the real estate agent, but you also work for...
I work up at Lafayette School Corporation and Facilities Department.
Okay, and so there are so many people I talk to that's either are in a job, they want to come in, they want to become a real estate agent, or maybe they are and they're trying to work 2 jobs, and they have trouble with that. So how do you do it?
Time management. 90% of my clients are my buyers or sellers, my friends. They want to do most of the business Monday through Friday after 5 p.m. and then Saturday and Sundays. I'm an empty nester. My kids are grown, they're adults now. So we have 2 grandchildren, and, we manage our time. We do, I set my time aside for them, and I'm upfront and honest with everyone who I work with. I let them know this is the situation. If I need to take care of something, I do have some freedom where I can take care of something during the daytime. Generally, it doesn't happen very often. But, we get things done, and once you get your templates and everything put together, then it's all plug and play, and it doesn't take as much time when you have everything set up in orderly fashions and have everything detailed already out. So, and everybody gets 100% of my time. I'm 100% for everyone who I work with, because I want them to have the greatest experience that they can have. I want them to be able to say, you know what, we had some hiccups, but man, did we just go through them so smoothly and didn't really notice them that much, and we got things done. And it's all about the experience for them as well. So I make sure there's time allotted for everybody.
Yeah, there's always hiccups, it seems like, in real estate.
Yeah.
And it's really how you react to it, right?
Yes.
And it sounds like you know exactly what to do. Now, time management. So it was one of the things you do, and if you do, how do you do it? Let your customers know, your everybody know when you're going to be available. So do you set those expectations so they know that there's certain times you just aren't available?
The very first meeting. Our very first meeting, I listen to them. We talk, and I hear everything that their wishes and wants and don'ts and all that. And, I make the meeting about them as much as possible. And then at the very end, I'll say, now, I'm going to throw in this little caveat. I do have a daytime job, and these are my hours. I am accessible by text message and phone calls during those hours if you have questions. But for meetings and to go out and look at homes, Monday through Friday, it's from 5 until respectful time of 8 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, as long as we have it set up, I'm open all day. So those are the expectations, and really everybody's been on board. I have not lost a client or a customer or a buyer or seller yet from being upfront and honest with them from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. And one of the reasons I want to go over that is so many people struggle, real estate agents struggle with controlling their time at all. Somebody calls, they run and do what they got to do, right? They drop what they were doing. They could have dinner plans. I'll go a little crazy. Dinner plans with the President of the United States, and somebody calls and they say, sorry, I can't make it, Mr. President. I got to go show a house, right?
Right.
They probably wouldn't do that, but they will drop their best friends that they've been having, have an appointment on the books for months because $1 million possible client just called them.
Right.
And I'm finding that there are agents like yourself who are able to kind of set the expectations, and then people work within those expectations. And yours are reasonable expectations.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody's got to work. And there's not that many people that work second, third, and fourth shifts that are demanding. A big portion of everybody works to 9 to 5 or 6 to 2:30, 3 o'clock, and everybody's pretty understanding with all of that. I do know there's a lot of the more experienced agents out there saying, you know what, I'm not working Sundays no more. That they're actually taking a full day. I'm not to that point because I really like interacting and working with people. And it's not like it's every day, 8 hours a day, but you still have to give those expectations, and people understand. They really do. As long as you're upfront and honest with them, they really understand, and they go along with it.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's something about you that I've learned is you're upfront and honest with people.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to tell people, upfront and honest. I will tell you this: the craziest time we had was when I got into the business in 19, and that was right at the height or beginning of the height of the whole let's hurry up and buy a house and overspend and things like that. And that was kind of tedious, but that's what helped me get to the point where I am right now,
right,
with being able to just be, hey, it'll be there. And if it's not there, believe me, there's going to be another house come up very similar to that one.
I think that is very wise advice. My son just bought another house, and both times he's bought a house, I told him the same thing. There isn't. In fact, most people I've seen, they go and they look at a house and they think, oh, this is it. And if they don't get it, they're all depressed and everything. And then maybe the second one, and maybe even a third one. And back then, it might have been 9 or 10 of them they didn't get.
Right.
But what I found is every single one of them, when they did get it, I don't care if it was the second house, the first house, the second, or the 21st, they realized that was the right house.
Yeah.
That the house they ended up with was the house they actually wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I try to explain to so many people who go into these houses, don't go into the house to buy it just because you think it's the only time you're going to get to buy that house. You'll know when that house is right, and it's so much fun for me to watch that when that happens because their face lights up. They try to be cool and not show their poker face, but I'm telling you, when they see the house and their eyes start getting bigger and you start seeing the eyebrows raise up and you get the ooh look, and that's the house for them, and you really work harder to get them into that home. And they look at the little small blemishes and they're like, you know what, we can fix that. In other homes, when they see those small blemishes, no, I don't like that. But when you see the same thing there, it's like, oh wow. And I tell everybody, I go, don't look at the pictures online. Look at them, but don't look at them. Just browse through them, because a lot of them are photoshopped, and some of them will make the house look immaculate and some won't. But you won't know for sure until you're actually in that house, because then you're seeing it for live. Because pictures are deceiving, and a lot of people say that to me. They say, oh my God, the pictures made this place look immaculate. Or, oh my gosh, the pictures made this place look dingy and horrible, but it's beautiful. So, you have to go and see the houses and to see what you're getting.
Yeah. And the pictures, I've had people tell me, yeah, you go in and the house looks so big in the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't look so big. I can tell you, I love cars. If you can't tell, you already knew that. And I go to a lot of car auctions. And if you bought the car, I don't understand how people can do this. If you bought the car by just looking at the pictures, you have no idea most of the time what you're getting.
None.
If you bought the car from 20 feet away and never got close to it, you still have no idea, right?
Exactly.
It's same with houses.
Yeah.
You got to go look at them. You got to see them. It's just what you have to do. Now, Chuck, if somebody is listening and they go, you know what, I need to buy a home, or I need to sell a home, and Chuck's the guy I want to work with, how would they get a hold of you?
Just somebody call me. or DM me at 317-698-3339. I'm strictly going by phone number now. It's the best way to get a hold of me is send me a text or DM at 317-698-3339. But hey, Rick, I got a question for you. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because the best way to get a hold of me is go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can give me a call. I'm trying to get over this number, but my problem is I cannot remember the number. I've got, I have 7 numbers now. How do you remember them? It's crazy. Every time I pick up, I do a CRM so I can keep in touch with people, and it gives you have another number. So I'm trying to get them condensed. But this one is 463-223-9592. 463 is a new exchange in Carmel. It's actually a Carmel number. So 469 or 63, 46. See, I don't know it. 463-223-9592 or hardworkingmortgageguy.com. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's not something I normally have done, and that helps. And so we talked about how your business, you've made the change. So now that you're at EXP and you've been there a year.
Roughly, about 8 months.
About 8 months. So, when you got there, did everything just kind of transfer over? Or did you have to do anything to really get the business going again? Oh,
you have to start over. New marketing, new everything. And it takes about a month to get everything going. It was, man, there's a lot of transitioning. You have to go through, it takes about a week and a half to go through all of the, what's that called when you, onboard.
Oh, yeah, onboarding.
It takes a long time to onboard, and especially when you're not as savvy with the technology as I am. I mean, we didn't grow up with that, and I just kind of, in my world, you just had like a DOS system, really simple, and now you got all these fancy things out there to learn. But onboarding took me a little bit of time, and then I had a little bit of the health scare towards the end of last year. And I just took that 2 or 3 months off, and then in January I started hitting it hard, really jumping on the social media platform, doing more videos, more what I want to say, messages online. I do the bear joke thing still.
And what's the bear joke thing? Let everybody know.
It's once a week. It's the bear chuckle of the week. And I just either find some pictures and put the bear joke together and do that, or I'll find a funny bear dad joke and put that on there just to draw attention, maybe bring a grin to some people's chins, bring some laughter in somebody's heart, and give them a brief moment of thinking about something different.
Yeah. So I know that you're looking at retiring from your job at the schools at some point here soon. So are you your second job then going to be a comedian? Are you going to be a stand-up? Because you're hilarious. You're not showing us so much today yet, but you are a funny guy.
Well, I appreciate that. I would like to do that. I'm obviously not introverted enough where I don't want to get up in front of people. I'm going to start off. I would like to do some speaking gigs and talk about some motivational things, and maybe what it takes to live in this diverse world a little bit and never give up on your dreams and your goals. I'd like to go out and speak to. I get to speak to some high school football players and athletes once in a while, and I really enjoy doing that. A friend of mine that I graduated with, he is a part-time comedian, and I've always told him I'd love to do it at least one time. So my wife and I, we're going on a cruise, and if they have a night where they'll let people come up on the stage to do 1 or 2 jokes, I might go up and do a couple. But no, I would like to do that at least once.
Yeah, I can see you doing it, but I it's like anything else. I don't, at least for me, the first time I do it, it is awful.
Yeah.
Whatever it is I'm doing. The first radio show I did, I am so glad that at least anywhere I can find, it's not anywhere anybody can hear it.
Right.
It was horrible, right? I know some people are listening going, well, you haven't really got much better. But it's so much more comfortable today than it was then. I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say. I was intimidated by the mics and all that, just like everybody is when they first do this, right?
Yep.
So it's just, you got, I think probably what happens, the people I've heard, is they get up there, whether they bomb or not, it's like, oh yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
Yeah.
Or it's like, heck no, I don't want to do this ever again.
Yeah. I think the problem I would have would be with hecklers. I'm not very good at coming back on things like that. But I'm going to tell you, I want to compliment you. You do a great job with this program, and I've really enjoyed watching it grow. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
It's fun watching it, and all the other agents that you have on here, they all do a great job with you. So you do a great job with this program.
Thank you. I think the agents do. We've had, it's one of my beliefs, and I can't say it always has been my belief, but one of the things I've learned from the show and talking to all these phenomenal agents like yourself is that in Indianapolis, and maybe everywhere, but Indiana's blessed with not just great real estate agents, but these people are like yourself. You're great people.
Yeah.
And everybody I've had on, I think to a person, it's not about the money. Not that. I mean, let's face it. Everybody knows you need to earn a living, right? But in fact, I'll say everybody. When it comes down to it, if there's an issue and it's between them making their commission or them not making the commission but taking care of their customer, they choose taking care of their customer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think that's the reputation that's out there, but I think that's the truth. And I think, I know for myself, I get very, I put my guards up when I'm in a situation where I don't know somebody that well, or I'm I'm buying something. But a real estate agent is different. And if you get the right one, and there's like yourself, they get somebody like you, you're always going to watch out for them because that's who you are. And that's how you built your business.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Being genuine.
Yeah.
Being genuine. And just being a person who loves people and making sure people are not being taken advantage of. I really love helping first-time home buyers because they're coming in at so green and most of them are scared because they know they're going to spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on an investment that they don't know if they're going to make their money back or even make some money off of it years down the road. And it's just so fun going through that whole process with first-time home buyers and helping them with understanding how the loan process goes and getting pre-approved. And that's the main thing that a lot of people really need to get understood is you have to get yourself pre-approved, even almost to underwriter pre-approval, and know what your budget is and not get yourself house poor. You don't. That's why I see a lot of people doing, and not even realizing they're doing it, and getting themselves house poor. And I do everything I can to keep that from happening to them because I want them to enjoy their home.
Yeah.
I want them to enjoy what they have. I want them to be able to go out to dinner, whether it's White Castle or Ruth Chris. Go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously. Pre-approval is really obviously important to me because it's what we do. And what you said, I agree 1,000%. Not only a pre-approval, but give us time to get it underwritten. And why would they want it underwritten? Because and you can tell them better than I, but when it's underwritten, they are no longer, they can close quicker.
Yeah.
The seller knows that there's very little that can get in the way. The appraisal, if there's an appraisal required, the purchase agreement, if it's not up to snuff, which it always is, so that's never really an issue, and the title work, right?
Yep.
And the inspection.
Yep.
But on our end, the inspection isn't part of what we do. So when you have a fully underwritten, what we'd call a conditional approval from an underwriter, how does that help when you're making offers?
It gives you a lot more strength over someone who just has a general pre-approval. It gives you a lot of strength because, like you just mentioned, the other agent says, wow, all they need is an address. We give them the address, and then we just wait for title to come back with anything, and we're pretty much 75% done instead of waiting for, oh, man, are they going to find out that they had a debt issue 10 years ago? Are they going to find out that maybe their debt to income ratio isn't where it should be, type of thing? And it just gives the seller side confidence that this transaction is going to go through smoothly and we're going to get everybody to the closing table. It's just a confidence thing for everybody on board.
Yeah, I agree, obviously. And the other thing I think that people have to understand. And when I said you can't, you wanted to give us time, one of the things that I think that a lot of people make an error on is I get a call at 2:00 on a Saturday afternoon. I've never talked to them. They found a house they want to buy, and they want a pre-approval letter. And for some people, that's fine. Okay, I mean, you pull their credit, you look at everything, everything's perfect. There's no, okay, we can do that. But if there's anything in there, especially a first-time home buyer, that's usually that they need a little more time, or a self-employed borrower, or if there's any issues, let's say your credit's frozen. If your credit's frozen, I can't pull it.
Right.
Okay, I can't give you a pre-approval if your credit's frozen. And when you go to unfreeze your credit, it doesn't always unfreeze it the second you do it. It can take some time. So it's one of those things that's extremely, in my book, important. And I would say give a lender a week, or a little more, possibly, depending on the volume, so that they can get it underwritten.
Yeah.
So that they have that time.
Just the minute I really help try to get them to understand, the minute that you're thinking about buying a house, get it done, because they're not going to draw too much away from your credit score, and at least you have an idea what's going on with all of that. I had a thought a minute ago, and I wish I could remember what it was, because I was going to ask you a question, what your opinion was on something, and I'll remember it here in a minute. But
it's the problem with getting older.
It is. It is.
Just one of the many.
It is. So, you hit the nail on the head. It's really hard for people to get pretty much when someone calls you at 2:00 in the afternoon, all you're able to give them really is a pre-qualification.
That's right.
And it's not really a true pre-approval. That's why people don't understand. You got your pre-qual, you got your pre-approval, and you got your underwritten
conditional
approval. And that's the one that you need to get. I mean, it gives you so much strength.
Yeah.
But, and like there's good lenders out there that will bend over backwards for everybody and do what they can, because they're in the same situation. They love people. They want to help people achieve their goals and dreams. And, you guys have been over backwards for these people. Even on Sundays, when you're just walking out of church, you get that text message from someone in a frantic deal. It's, oh my gosh, and we're not in 20, 21, 22 right now.
Right.
We do have time.
Right.
And if it's just being good to people. That's what it's about. Yeah.
It's just better if they plan. I think what happens, and you work with them directly, so I'm guessing, but you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think people think, I'm going to go look at houses, but I'm not going to find anything, so I'm not going to go ahead and talk to the lender, and I'm not going to get pre-approved. I'm going to go look and see if there's anything out there. And then they walk into a house, and just what you said, you can tell this is the house.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, I want to make an offer, but they didn't get prepared to make an offer. And now today, we pull. It's a soft pull. Okay, the first pull is a soft pull. It's not going to affect your credit score, and we'll do a hard pull later on. Now, a hard pull is better because there are things that don't show up on a soft pull.
Yeah.
All right, that you just have to understand. Soft pull is not going to be as good as a hard pull, and the hard pull only hits your credit score 3 to 5 points. Now, that's no big deal if you're in the higher level of credit score, meaning that every 20 points. So it basically starts at, we'll say 620 to 639, then 640 to 649, then 650 to 679, right? So you can kind of see how that, 660 to 679. I can't count today. But it's every 20 points starting at 620. So if you were at 639, a pull's not going to hurt you any.
Right.
If you're at 621, it's not going to hurt you on that pull because you're going to be at 621. It's going to hurt you on the next pull.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to have pull a second time. Now you can pull with another lender within a certain amount of time, but it's just one of those things. And we're beating that to death. I just it's very important to me, and I'm sorry I get onto it. It's kind of like cars. I can't stop talking about them when I get going. So I apologize. So what would you if somebody's out there listening and they say, why should they number one, why should they work with Chuck? And how do they get a hold of Chuck?
Well, they should get a hold of Chuck because Chuck cares. And I care a lot about people, and I'm going to give them the best that I can give them at all times. I do have an extensive background with construction, with building maintenance, home maintenance, I understand the homes and what, especially now with my experience that I've had, I understand what inspectors are going to look for. I have the knowledge of that. Especially if it's FHA, I know exactly what FHA is going to ask them for, and I can help them understand what's going to happen. So with my knowledge and my background, I have a pretty good experience to be able to help them. To get a hold of me, give me a phone call or DM me at 317-698-3339. That's the best way to get a hold of me, is either text, DM, or call 317-698-3339. But when someone's wanting to get their pre-approval or even talk about their options of being able to get a loan, well, how should they get a hold of you, Rick?
Well, thank you for asking. And the best way to get a hold of me is go to hardworkingmortgageguy.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguy.com. But of course, if it's on a Saturday at 2 o'clock and you need to talk to me, you can give me a call, and I'm going to have to look up my number. It's 463, I remember that part, 463-223-9592. That's 463-223-9592. You can call or text that number. And one thing about the weekend for me is if you're contacting me on the weekend or after hours, I'll get back with you as quickly as I can. But as you know, if you're doing something, you can't always get back right away. Sometimes, I even try to bring my computer to almost everything I do, but sometimes I just don't have it, right?
Right.
And so I need, it may take me a little bit longer. Just be patient, because I'm going to get it. I'm going to take care of you, and I'll get you what I can. But it's best to not do it on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Do it that Monday beforehand so we can get it done correctly, and everything's great. So I'll get off my high horse. It's just one of those things. So what is one strategy that you use that a lot of other real estate agents don't use?
I do a lot of social media. I'm getting more and more into doing reels and shorts on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I'm even jumping over to Pinterest and doing things on Pinterest. I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vee and a lot of Dustin Brum and other agents, Simon Sinek, and just learning from those who are successful. Especially Gary Vee. He's got a lot of good points on social media and getting out there. I told, when I hired in at Carpenter, I told them, I was like, I won't focus on social media. I don't like doing the whole cold calling. I'd rather just get in front of people. And then I hear everybody say, well, I don't like doing cameras. I don't feel comfortable doing cameras. And I asked them, well, how do you like doing open houses? They're like, well, those are okay. I go, but wasn't you nervous the very first time you did it? And the second time, and the third time? He goes, well, yeah. Well, how many have you done now? Well, I've done quite a bit. How do you feel now? Well, I'm very comfortable. That's the same thing with doing videos and doing this. I mean, you even touched on that a little bit earlier.
Right.
When you did your first one, you just felt it was horrific. Now you're awesome. I mean, you're doing a great job, and it's just we're comfortable with it.
Right.
It's like anything else. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and the more fun you start. You start getting goofy. You start having some fun with us, telling them dumb dad jokes or, making up words and just having a great time. So make it fun. Do social media. I do videos. I'm not doing as many as I want to, but I'm getting to that point. My open houses, I try to keep them fun, keep them enlightened. I don't do anything extravagant at them, but I try to keep it a good experience for people coming in. So those are two things I focus on. I know you asked me about one, but open houses and doing videos.
Well, and I think that's awesome. And I wanted to touch on your social media, but before we do that, and then I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, so you may say, listen, I'm not going to do that right now, but can you tell us either a dumb dad joke or any joke? Do you have anything in your repertoire that you can just, because people need to know how good you are at it. You're how funny you are.
Yeah, I'll give you one. So I went out to see Mr. Farmer last week. He wanted to sell off some of his ground. He had 20 acres. He just wanted to get out. It wasn't doing him no good. And we're sitting there looking at his cows. And I asked him, I go, how come you got bells on those cows? And he looks at me square in the face, as serious as he could go. He goes, sir, that's because their horns don't work. So there's your bear chuckle of the day.
Well, that's pretty good. I got to say that's pretty good. You know what my problem with me telling jokes is? I get all the way to the punchline, I forget it, and that's not funny.
Yeah, it is really. I do the same thing, and I thought I was going to screw that one up, but I nailed it. So
you nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, I know. I think it was on Bob and Tom. I heard him tell a joke. It was for Halloween, and it was a scarecrow walked into a bar, and he said, "Give me a beer and a mop." Now, I think that's hilarious. But everybody I tell it to looks at me like you did.
That's funny.
I think it's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
I mean, I get it, right? It makes total sense to me. So social media. One of the things, you touched on social media, but you really do some unique things on social media.
I do. I'll do some scenarios like I'm talking on the phone to another agent. And what I'm trying to do is educate. And I did a couple about the debt to income ratio, how we were getting ready to close. And most of these are really things that have happened. We was going to go close. We had a closing in 24 hours and got a phone call from the agent and said, hey, they just lost their debt to income ratio. And I'll let you explain what that means here.
Okay.
And so I'm like, crap, what do we do? And it's like, well, it's not going to get cleaned up because he really did something bad. And he went out, or this particular buyer went out and purchased a new car and some furniture for the house. And it just knocked him below his debt to income ratio. So I do them on that. And sometimes I'll do them on home inspections and, try and make some of them fun, some of them not so much fun. And then I got one series I'm doing now where I'm going to my grandson's baseball games, and it's called Spitting Seeds Through a Fence. And I'm trying out different sunflower seeds, and I'll promote that sunflower seed, and we're spitting seeds through a fence at the ball games, And a lot of travel parents know what that means, and it's fun. And I do some with some other agents, so I try to keep a variety and keep them fun, and some of them are informational. But yeah.
Well, I remember several, but one of them I remember is you did one, and you were at your car, and you were going to give something for the first 20 people who posted at your car with the sign that you had in the back of the car. I thought that was, a really brilliant way.
Yeah, I was promoting Hoosier Coffee, which is a veterans-owned coffee company out of Brownsburg.
Oh, okay.
And I know the guys who own that. They are veterans. They all served over in Iraq and Afghanistan during all the wars that we've been over there from 91 until today. And they started up Hoosier Coffee. It's just two veterans that started it up out of Brownsburg, and their coffee's really good. And I was like, well, I'm going to help you guys out, and I'm going to try to get people come. And we had a couple people show up. It was pretty good, and I gained a couple good friends out of that, and I helped a couple people buy some homes from doing that. And it was productive. And it was fun doing it. Yeah. I had a lot of people stopping and talking and stuff like that.
But I know how you are. It's really not about you getting customers out of it. Mm-hmm. You cared about the veterans and promoting their business so that you're helping them succeed.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's what I try to do. In the podcast is I'm just trying to help others succeed, and I think it's important that clients hear great people that they can then work with.
Yes, the veterans. I got a special place in my heart for veterans, and I was honored enough to get to do the honor flight with a good friend of mine who was in the Vietnam era.
Okay,
and we got to go out to Washington D.C. for the day and come back home.
Oh yeah,
and the honor flight is just something special. And I know we weren't planning on discussing this, but we brought the veterans up. The veterans are very special to me. For anyone to give up their lives for me to be able to do a podcast with Rick Rip is very, I can't thank the families enough and pray for them enough to go through all of that.
Yeah, it's one of the things I think that that you have is there's a lot, but you're grateful. I think that's an extremely important piece of somebody, to be grateful for what they have, and to realize it's, none of us are where we are because of only us.
No,
right?
No, we gotta have help to get where we're going.
Got to, and some of it we never met the person who went to war for us.
No,
right?
Mm-mm.
Most of the time.
No.
So,
and I don't want to get on a tangent with this, but the Vietnam vets are the ones that really have my heart. I had family members that went to Vietnam, and I watched their lives as I was growing up and what they was going through. And, every time I meet someone who served through in Vietnam, I always welcome them home. And I get some funny looks on that. And I'm like, you never got that before. And I want you to know I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it home. And I'm thankful for everything that you did in a conflict that really wasn't ours. But you went over and you did what you could to make sure that we were safe.
Yeah.
And that we had our freedoms and other people could have freedoms. And, for that, sir, I want you to make sure, and ma'am, that you're thanked, and that that at least you're welcomed home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, do you work with a lot of veterans?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I do help several. Probably about 35% of my base is with veterans. So, sometimes you get to hear the fun stories, and sometimes you get to hear not so fun stories.
Right.
But yeah, I really enjoy helping them and helping them get through their their VA loans. And it's just VA loans are interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we have that to offer to them, and I'm excited. I always get excited when they tell me they're a veteran, and it just means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think on the VA loans, my problem with the VA loan is it makes it hard for the veteran to get a offer accepted.
Yeah.
And they need, I know they're trying to protect their veteran, but you're keeping them from being able to get a house, especially in the market we've been in.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody gets 5 offers and one of them's VA, from what I've seen, they don't even consider the VA offer.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a travesty.
It is a travesty. It is absolutely. I understand why somebody would do that. I wish it wasn't that way, and I wish VA would change it so they didn't put the veteran and put the person in that shape. Because most of them, they would like to take the VA loan or the VA, but they can't have they don't feel like they can accept the risk of that loan not closing because of the requirements VA has.
Right. And that's really sad, but I understand as well. But I'm gonna give you a happy story on this.
Okay.
Last year, I had a client. I had a buyer, and they had a good offer, and we put this good offer in on a home, and the seller was a veteran himself, and our offer was higher than the other offer, and the seller declined our offer and took the other offer because it was a VA loan. So I had no problem with that. I had no problem with that at all because, he took care of the VA. He understood what was going to happen, and I think every agent, and we're supposed to by law, but they have to show them and explain to the seller what's going on. And when the agent called and said, "Look, it's a VA loan, and this guy's a VA." He's a veteran, and he wants to help out his brother. I was like, I got no problem with that. And we went the next day and put an offer on a house, and they got it. Again, there's houses out there, and we'll find a home. Yep.
Yeah, and that is absolutely a fact. There are plenty of houses out there, and you will find one. Just you just have to keep at it. But I had a customer who actually called in from one of the podcasts, and she was a veteran, and she was 60, mid-60s, never owned a home before.
Oh, wow.
Didn't think she could. Lived in a trailer.
Oh,
the trailer didn't have hot water running. And we qualified her, and she was able to go get a house. And it's like that's so fulfilling. It's really, it's like, I'll do that all day long for nothing. It's nothing about what you're going to earn or anything else. You just want to take care of that person. They deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I got into real estate, is because I wanted to be that one that people could believe that is not out there to just worry about the commission.
Yeah.
That they're going to do what they can do to help get them into that house. I can't tell you how many times I went and actually done the repair work to help get the thing processed through. And I work hand in hand with the sellers or the buyer's agents and let them know my background, and they get comfortable with it, and they go see the work and they're like, holy crap, that's better than what we would have hired someone else to. I go, that's because I care, and
Right.
I want these people to enjoy this home, buyer or seller. And that's one thing I talked to the other agents about. I said, okay, we got the negotiation down. Now you and I don't care that we're on different brokerages. We're a team now, and we need to work together on getting this to the closing table to help your sellers to be able to get a new chapter in life, and for the buyers to get a new home that they deserve and start a new chapter in their lives. And that's our goal, is to help those two make it to the end.
Yeah.
So,
And it's just one of those things that we're all in it. Once you have a purchase agreement, it's your lender's in it, right? Both agents are in it, title company's in it. Everybody involved. Everybody involved is now part of that deal, and you see, again, you're grateful, you're appreciative, you get that, and I think that's a big deal. What would you say? Maybe the golden rule of negotiating, because negotiating is a big deal, and it can be kind of confrontational. Well, is there any golden rule you have with negotiating?
No, just keep it clean and keep it factual. Usually, I haven't really had a tough negotiation yet. I know that kind of seems weird, but I let the buyer or the seller who I'm representing understand they're going to come in with this offer. It's going to seem kind of low, but they got to start somewhere, and you got to start somewhere. So we just got to find that happy ground of where everything's at. And generally, I haven't had anybody thrown back like, well, this house is this. Oh, you know what? I did have that happen. I had a listing that just closed this week. The lady lives in the neighborhood. She was buying it for her. She's going to let her mom live in her house, and they offered quite a bit lower, and then she was nitpicking the house. And the house just got on the market, and I just said simply, I said, look, we're new. We're just now on the market today, and other houses in this neighborhood are going for the same amount. And they try to throw out, well, those houses have this, this, this. I was like, this house only has one small defect on it. You're talking cabinets. They can change cabinets out. They're going to live in it for years. This neighborhood's value raises every year. I go, no, we're going to hold off. And the very next day, we got a full price offer. So it's just about being patient and explaining to the other agents in a respectful way that this is why we're offering it this way. This is why we have it. And, the negotiations, if I think I'm coming in at low when I'm offering, I will go find comps and send those comps and say, this is where we're getting our value at, and show it that way. That way they don't think I'm just coming in low ball for no reason.
Right. Yeah. And that's important, because you got to be on the same page. The communication's obviously very important to you too. You make sure you communicate. I real quick, because we're running out of time, but I wanted to say, I think one of the things that really helps and sets you apart is your knowledge of construction and maintenance and all that. It just matters to somebody, because most of us don't have that.
Right.
And I think my niece is a real estate agent in North Carolina, and she said she didn't know anything about it. So she had guys take her, she'd go out and the inspectors, and they would show her. This is not something I would do. You probably would do this, but I'm not crawling in the crawl space. I've done it before. I never want to go back in another crawl space. But she crawled into crawl spaces, right? Because she wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And that's you don't have to. I mean, you can't. You're going to crawl in because you know what you're looking at. I would have no idea. So what good is it for me to get in a crawl space anyway?
Right.
That's my excuse right there.
Right.
But if somebody wants to get a hold of you and they want to work with Chuck, they want to buy, sell, just talk, maybe Are you hiring people? Anything like that? Are you building a team?
No, I'm not building a team
Okay.
right now, but I do want to promote EXP. I do want to try to bring on some more agents over to EXP. If you got any questions about why I moved over and from Carpenter over to EXP, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and go over that. I do have the spreadsheets on why I did that and why it's a better fit for me and how it could be a better fit for you. I would love to help other agents learn more about EXP so they can make a decision on their own. There's so many people out there that bash other companies. I don't understand why they do. But, if you want to learn more about EXP, please give me a call at 317-698-3339 or text me, and I'll be more than happy to go over why I went to EXP and how it could benefit you over there at EXP. And, EXP is not for everybody, just
Right.
like all the other companies around are not for everybody. You have to find your fit and what you love to do and who you would like to work with. But yeah, feel free to give me a call at 317-698-3339, and I'll be more than happy to work with you on learning more about EXP.
Awesome. Or to buy a house or sell a
Or
house.
buy a house or sell your house.
You can do it all.
I can do it all.
And you can help them with their social media. You're great at social media.
And one more thing, if you want to learn more about buildings and building structures, Rick just hit the nail on the head. If you're new to real estate and you don't understand homes and stuff like that, get with your home inspectors and you go over to a hardware store somewhere. They have full body suits that you put on, like coveralls, that are disposable or non-disposable, and have those in your car, and you can cover up your nice clothes and everything. And don't be afraid to go underneath the house or go with the inspector and ask the inspectors questions, because they really want to help you as well. And get to learn the building, because that's going to help you in the end of gaining more clients.
Yeah, I think it makes a world of difference. And to get a hold of me, go to hardworkingmortgageguy.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguy.com, or you can give me a call at 463-223-9592. I know you're thinking, how come we can't remember that number? But I can't. 463-223-9592. Maybe I can. I'm just afraid I'm going to say it wrong. And Chuck, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it. You're an awesome agent, but even more important than that, you're an awesome person. You're just a great person, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate doing this with you.
Branch MLS number 33041. Written MLS number 664-589. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.